Okay, boys and girls, ladies and germs, this is Edwin Learnard here with my NFL prognostications for the games of Week 2 for 2012. Let me kick off the first game, New York Giants over Tampa Bay. The New York Giants did not remotely resemble the team that won the Super Bowl in last week's loss to the Cowboys. Expect the G-men to bounce back and beat the Bucs in Week 2. The Giants are too disciplined and resilient to lose back-to-back home games to start the season. New England over Arizona. You don't have to be a medium to predict the Patriots' subjugation of the Cardinals. The Pats are at home, where they are 15-1 the last 2 seasons. The Cardinals, on the other hand, are dreadful 3-13 in their last 16 road games. The Patriots simply have too many weapons in their arsenal for the Cardinals to handle. The Cardinals have wide receiver Larry Fitzgerald, but don't have much else. Pats win easily. San Diego over Tennessee. Saying the Chargers have dominated this series in recent years would be an understatement. San Diego has won 8 consecutive against the T-men. The Titans basically conceded the season by starting quarterback Jake Locker against the Pats last week. Even if the Titans start quarterback Matt Hasselbeck, they will still lose. This is the Chargers' game to lose, and they won't. Buffalo over Kansas City. The Bills have looked impressive the last 2 times, or at least respectable, the last 2 games they played Kansas City. The last time they played them, they annihilated them 41-7. That was in KC. The Bills looked far from impressive last week versus the Jets, but they will be fired up and rejuvenated against Kansas City at home this week. If the Chiefs can't win at home against Atlanta, don't expect them to go into Buffalo and win. Houston over Jacksonville. Houston got off to a strong start last week against Miami, routing them 30-10 while putting up over 330 yards in total offense. The Jaguars gave the Vikings all they could handle last week. The quarterback, Gabbert, compiled some good numbers, including a 96.1 passer rating and 2 TD passes. However, they play a Houston team that is formidable and could very well represent the AFC in the Super Bowl this season. Texans get the easy win. Pittsburgh over New York Jets. So much for the anemic Jets offense theory. Jets volatile, explosive offense in the same sentence, anyone? After putting up 384 yards on offense and 34 offensive points, I can. However, the Jets will have to go into Pittsburgh this week, where they have had relative success in their last 2 outings, surprisingly. However, the Steelers, like the Giants, are very disciplined. They're resilient. I expect them to bounce back this week and defeat the Jets at Pittsburgh. Indianapolis over Minnesota. Indy actually impressed me last week. They were competitive against a Bears team on the road who pride themselves in their vaunted defense. At least for a half, they looked decent. Minnesota won their game against the Jaguars at home. The Vikings are 1-7 the last 2 seasons against AFC opponents. Look for that stat to be 1-8 in 9 games after this one. New Orleans over Carolina. Both of these teams were dominated in terms of time of possession by their opponents last week. What happened? Both lost. The Saints look to be the more impressive of the 2 last week, scoring 32 points against the Skins, while quarterback Cam Newton in Carolina only managed 10 against a hapless Bucs team that had lost 10 regular season games prior to that game. The Saints may be weaker defensively because of cornerback Tracy Porter's departure, but they still have enough to beat the Panthers. Dallas over Seattle. The Cowboys played well on all sides of the ball last week. They play an enigmatic, unpredictable Seattle team this week. Even punter Chris Jones played well, averaging 54 yards a punt. It's early in the season, but Seattle's 4th in rushing defense and 3rd in total defense. Dallas is 7th in rushing offense and 3rd in total offense. This game could be well won and lost in the trenches. I expect Dallas's offense to outperform the Seahawks defense. Cowboys win in tough road game. Green Bay over Chicago. Last season, the Packers and some other teams repudiated the belief you must have a strong running game and defense to win. Well, the pass-only theory did not pan out last week in a 30-22 loss to San Francisco. Green Bay rushed for a meager 45 yards and gave up 377 total yards to the Niners. The Bears and Brian Urlacher won last week, but that was against the Colts. The Packers may not be the team we've seen the past 2 seasons, but they can defeat the Bears at home. Washington over St. Louis. Robert Griffin III proved the cynics that thought he would have a first game jitters wrong. He threw for 2 touchdowns, 320 yards, and put up the highest week 1 QB rating for a rookie in NFL history. The Rams showed a lot of passion and heart, giving Detroit all they could handle until Stafford's TD pass with 10 seconds left came. Look for the Skins to exploit a weak offensive line in a tough road win. Baltimore over Philadelphia. I thought the Eagles were supposed to be a dynasty team this season. Was the 1-point win over Cleveland last week complacency or a harbinger of things to come? The Ravens, led by Joe Flacco, Ed Reed, and Ray Lewis, just go quietly about their business and win. Look for the Ravens to do just that this week. Atlanta over Denver. It's safe to say Peyton Manning's skills haven't deteriorated. He threw for 2 TDs and 253 yards in an impressive win over perennial Super Bowl contender Pittsburgh. The Falcons are 13-3 at home over the last 2 seasons, while Denver is 6-10 over that stretch on the road. Look for Atlanta running back Michael Turner to break out and gain at least 100 yards to win a tight one against the Broncos. Miami over Oakland. In the Raiders' loss to the Chargers last week, I didn't know if I was watching a football game or a calamity of errors. The Dolphins didn't look much better in a 30-10 defeat at the hands of Houston. Expect the Raiders to improve their special teams and offense this week, but I still like the Fins at home. Cincinnati over Cleveland. The Bengals had aspirations at the start of the season to win the division. After the 44-13 drubbing they took from the Ravens on Monday night, is a 500 season attainable? The Browns put up a good fight against an Eagles dynasty team last week, but came up short. The Bengals, though not looking good, are at home and should conquer the Browns in a game that may actually be competitive. San Francisco over Detroit. There are not enough superlatives to describe San Francisco. They held a nearly unstoppable Packers offense to 14 offensive points, scored 30, and even got a record-tying 63-yard field goal from kicker David Akers. They are arguably the most complete team in the league. The Lions boast a potent offense and possibly improved defense, but it won't be enough to stymie the 49ers at home.